Welcome to the Melbourne Arena in Victoria, Australia, and the start of the second day of competition at the FIG World Cup of Artistic Gymnastics 2020, the start of an enormous year in sport, as if you didn't know that already. Coming up over the next couple of hours of action, 5 apparatus finals, the men's vault and women's balance beam to run simultaneously, then the men's parallel bars, and we'll conclude with the pair of the men's horizontal bar and women's floor exercise. Yesterday, the United States of America took 2 gold medals courtesy of Jade Carey in the women's vault and Steven Nedorosik in the men's pommel horse. Diana Varinska won a gold medal for Ukraine in the women's uneven bars, and Ryu Sung-hyun of the Republic of Korea won the men's floor competition. Eleftherios Petrounias of Greece won the men's still rings competition. This is a qualification event for the games of the 32nd Olympiad taking place in Tokyo this summer. This very building, the Melbourne Arena, its postal address is number 2 Olympic Boulevard. But with all due respect to this esteemed venue, number 2 is of no significance on the road to Tokyo. This is about first place. What you're about to witness is effectively 5 mini battles for Olympic qualification. More on how exactly it all works in just a moment, because it's time to welcome onto the field of play the competitors for the first 2 finals, starting with the women's balance beam. Ondina Champong of Great Britain, the 5th strongest qualifier, the 16-year-old. Emma Spence of Canada. And this is a look at the competitors in order of their qualification scores, with Urara Ashikawa of Japan, the top performer, just ahead of Anastasia Bachinska of Ukraine, with Australia's Emma Nedov in 3rd position in qualification. I'm sure it is redundant to say, but I shall say it nonetheless, that the qualification scores are discarded at the beginning of the final. And currently in the Olympic qualification process, it is Emma Nedov who leads the way, but the balance beam competition is very much up for grabs. Competitors for the men's vault are also being introduced. We've just seen James Bakweti of Australia with Aldris Nin Reyes, the 7th strongest qualifier. Joshua Valle of Mexico, the 4th best in qualification. Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan, the 8th strongest. But it's Jorge Vega Lopez of Guatemala, the top performer in qualification in the men's vault. But what about this from James Bakweti of Australia? He's in the mix, as is Igor Sharamkov of Belarus. But just take a glance on the right of your screen at the numeracy. Those are very compact qualification scores. The moment I asked you to look at it, of course, the numbers disappeared, which is pretty well par for the course in my sense of timing as a broadcaster. Apologies for that. But it's a very compact qualification process. There's the man who's the top qualifier. And we have a look at Emma Spence of Canada, joined by Denis Vachon, very well-known coach and safety pin expert. That's what all coaches want, isn't it? Is for the camera to really zoom in when they're struggling to get the safety pin sorted. There is, I'm sure, an inverse proportionality to that. Emma Spence turns 17 next week, ready to get up and running on the balance beam. Well, it's only fitting, isn't it, that the balance beam competition is one of the most intriguingly balanced of all of the 10 apparatus for Olympic qualification. 5 events so far have taken place, 5 different winners. And no gymnast from the People's Republic of China at this competition, and that due to the recent and enduring health issues concerning the coronavirus. So we begin with Ondine Achampong of Great Britain, 5th strongest qualifier, 12.991 in qualification. Oh, what a super sequence from Achampong, the reigning British junior champion on this piece, just about every other piece. Did well to hold that. A lot of rotation going on there, really packed in the pirouettes. Welcome, Ondine Achampong. What a superb performance that is. That is how you begin a balance beam final. She won the gold medal in this at the European Youth Olympic Festival and was the flag bearer for the closing ceremony. Teenager from Kings Langley, village in Hertfordshire. Actually features in Shakespeare's Richard II. What a beautiful beginning that was. Lovely acrobatic sequence with such precision and poise. To see her on a further occasion in the floor final. That was not the display of a gymnast who is in her furthest journey away from home so far as a competitor in her senior international debut. Excellent beginning from Ondine Achampong. Another 16-year-old next to compete, and one with a very proven international youth track record. Hers at the Olympic Games, the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires in 2018. Bronze medalist in the vault competition. But did pick up a bronze medal on the balance beam in Sombate. Looked like a more assured display from Achampong than qualification, reflected in the thoughts of the judges. 13.166 for her, up from 12.991. Really impressive beginning. Emma Spence of Canada celebrates her 17th birthday next week. The 2019 Athlete of the Year in Cambridge, Ontario. A wonderful event held in honour of the late Tim Turrow. Secure mount. Now, this is an important sequence to get through. Very precise. Oh, that was a very tight dismount there from Spence. Not sure if the hands went down. It was close. The look on her face suggests the hands did, suggests the hands did go down. That was going very, very well up until that moment. Sometimes the the athlete's reaction tells you everything. To James Baquetti of Australia on the men's vault. Second strongest in qualification. 24-year-old who grew up in Canberra. So silver medalist on the vault in the Australian Championships. 14.616 his qualification numbers. That's a nicely executed first vault. Had a 0.1 penalty for that in qualification, so already that's a step up.
Standing back ready for his second vault, and a scoring for Emma Spence, a score of 11.6 on balance beam, putting her in second position.
Some decent height there, kept the feet and heels together in the twist position. Nice form, good toe point, gets the arms tightly into the body. A lot to enjoy about that vault. He had a high execution score in qualification for it, 9.333. 11.6 for Spence. Confirmation that the hand definitely did make a clear touch on the mat. It certainly looked like it. So second position for Spence with a Champong in the lead. We shall now see the second vault of the very highly regarded young coach from South Canberra, or Southern Canberra, excuse me, Gymnastics Club. Oh, there will come the penalty that he discarded in the first vaulting qualification. A big side step from Baquetti, but lots about his vaulting that's very crisp. Technically, it's really nice work. As the second strongest performer in qualification, he doesn't have as high a difficulty, if all is the same as qualification, as Joshua Valle and Andrei Medvedev. I'll come back to that in a moment. Now to Diana Varinska of Ukraine, who won the uneven bars competition yesterday. Gymnast who's already secured qualification to the Olympic Games, courtesy of the World Championships. Seventh strongest qualifier here. Some good World Cup results on the balance beam in her short career. Oh, well, that's a very, very good dismount. As I mentioned yesterday, $300 for every stuck landing is going to the Australian bushfire appeal, and there's no doubt that $300 is heading to it, courtesy of that finish from Diana Varinska. 14.449 for Baquetti, down a little bit from his qualification score of 14.616, and we have got a very compact field in this vault. Aldris Nin Reyes from Dominican Republic, seventh strongest qualifier, the reigning Pan American Games champion on the vault. Yes, Yes, that never looked quite right from the takeoff. Goodness me. He's okay at least. Hopped up pretty fast there. Here's some of the crowd starting to gasp from the moment that he hit the vaulting table, really. Let's see what this side angle tells us. One of the judges there actually was rather gasping. Did spring back up and all seems well for Aldris Nin Reyes. It won't be well in terms of the score, but that's an ancillary concern after a landing like that. He became the first male gymnast from the Dominican Republic to win a World Cup event when he took gold in Osijek back in 2017. Took a silver in the Cutlass competition. That has ended up being converted to maximum points. More on how that works in a bit. Second vault from Aldris Nin Reyes. Again, just not quite right. Going for high difficulty and the knees coming down. Looks a touch shaken after those couple of vaults. 12.8 for Diana Varinska, so she's in the silver medal position. Still Ondina Champong of Great Britain leads the way with 5 competitors to go. Now there will be a roar before and a roar after and silence during for Emma Nedov of Australia. Currently leads the way in the provisional Olympic qualification for balance beam. Is the 3rd strongest qualifier here with 13.1. Oh, that's unfortunate for Nedov. Looked as though that was going quite tidily. Some super height there. Really is such a lovely performer on this apparatus. Got her first ever World Cup medal in Melbourne a year ago. She's gone on to really perform at such a high level in the World Cup series. But just a reminder that the balance beam qualification process is incredibly finely balanced. It is so tight in terms of the qualification places, with 3 events still to go. Aldris Nin Reyes with 13.603. So he's down by about a mark from qualifying. Joshua Valle of Mexico. He's a gymnast who's got some real difficulty. He had 5.6 for both of his vaults in qualification, the joint highest. 14.566 was his accumulated score. 4th strongest in qualification. 20-year-old from Ciudad Obregón in Sonora. He's been a Pan American Championship medalist on the vault. That is why. There's a lot of exciting work going on. Yes, he's going to pick up a penalty for that. Gymnast who's got some strong difficulty to play with. Emenedov 12.533, so that has her sitting in third position at the halfway mark of the women's balance beam competition. And if you are just joining the Olympic qualification process at this stage, I will, at the conclusion of these two events, just go into a little more detail on how that works, but we've had a very prompt and energetic start to the competition, and now is not the time to go into advanced astrophysics and talk about the mechanics of Olympic qualifying. Just here a 14.6 for Joshua Valle for the first vault, which is down by a third of a tenth from qualification. It's 14.633, so just a few hundredths shy, that's all. Now there's room for stronger execution on this second vault, an 8.9 that he picked up for it in qualification. Our hands have gone down in a fairly pronounced way from Joshua Valle. Oh dear. Be best advised not to put any needless weight on that. There's already a bit of tape on the left ankle, but certainly hurt himself as he landed, did the young Mexican athlete. Getting very prompt treatment. We'll try to give you an update on that as the competition goes on. Anastasia Bachinska of Ukraine, second strongest in qualification, 13.666. So this is a real contender now to move into the lead. Should all go according to plan. Highest difficulty of any qualifier, 5.9. Gymnast who made the balance beam final at the last European Championships. This is a poised and impressive display so far. Really did attack that. Certainly that is a contending performance from Anastasia Bachinska. The lead is currently on Dina Champong on 13.166. Bachinska has got quite a bit of difficulty to exploit. 14.066 for Joshua Valle, who's been given excellent prompt medical guidance. He is putting some weight on the foot. We'll head off now for further treatment. It's always a disheartening thing to see in Olympic qualification. Gymnasts getting injured. Milad Karimi of Kazakhstan is the fourth to go in the men's vault. Eighth strongest in qualification. Doesn't have enormous difficulty compared to others. But some nice execution. Some very nice execution. Oh yes. Lovely. Well, as the old saying goes, there's more than one way to earn a score. His is an execution-focused display. The stadium announcer here is pointing out to the crowd that Milad Karimi is featuring in every single final in this session, so we'll see him a couple more times. He is a very accomplished all-around gymnast. He's the national champion and has already secured Olympic qualification courtesy of his all-around performance at the World Championships. Now, interestingly there, Karimi, 14.666 we're hearing for that first vault, and that is up by getting on for half a mark from qualification. So suddenly, Milad Karimi is a gentleman in contention. Let us see what he produces here. This was a vault that had a 9.433 execution score in qualification. Not sure he can do much better than that. Oh, maybe he can! You never know, do you? That was a wonderfully executed couple of vaults from the gymnast from Kazakhstan. If there's something that one associates with Milad Karimi, it is rather lovely form. A very technical gymnast. 12.933 for Anastasia Bachinska. So Champong has just managed to hold on to the lead, but Bachinska is in the silver medal position with 3 to go. Sixth competitor to take to the balance beam is Georgia Godwin from Australia, and she was also the 6th strongest in qualifying. That is very stable. Makes light of a couple of steps back there. A great deal of stability in her turns. Very well done indeed from Georgia Godwin. Just a fraction hiked in her landing, but very secure in the foot placement. It was an extremely accomplished display from the 21-year-old from Southport in Queensland. Celebrations between her and Emma Nedov. Had a very good 2019. Milad Karimi, 14.533. So we have a new leader in the men's vault as James Bakwetti goes into second place. And there are 4 still to go. Now, how's Georgia Godwin in terms of attacking those top positions? The mark required for a medal is in excess of 12.8. That's held by Diana Varinska. Teammate Anastasia Bachinska above that on 12.933, and the only 13 plus marks so far on Dina Champong. Ayaka Sakaguchi is the next gymnast to compete on the balance beam.
Looking at the beam at the moment, we still have our athlete from Great Britain, Dina Champong, sitting in the lead, and Anastasia Bachinska in the silver, and Daria Varinska in the bronze medal position.
I believe we're just awaiting confirmation of the score for Georgia Godwin, hence the wait for Ayaka Sakaguchi. Still there are 4 competitors to vault. We're flitting between the women's balance beam and the men's vault at the moment.
So we're waiting for that all-important beam score before our next athlete can complete.
this brief hiatus, just a chance to reflect upon the fact that we still have 3 more apparatus World Cup events to come. Well, two still to come, 3 including this one, do excuse me. 8 in total as part of the apparatus qualification process. The all-around World Cups are still to come in Milwaukee, Stuttgart, Birmingham and Tokyo. So gymnasts have already qualified courtesy of the all-around process at the World Championships and the odd apparatus qualifier here and there, not many of those. Also teams qualified courtesy of 2018 and 2019 World Championships. So this is the next in a long line of qualification processes. So confirmation of 12.766 for Georgia Godwin. That guarantees Ondina Champong of Great Britain a medal in her first World Cup event. Ayaka Sakaguchi, the penultimate competitor, 4th strongest qualifier with 13.066. She's a very assured performer. This is where she made her World Cup debut a year ago. Highly accomplished vaulter as well. Very nicely executed walkover. With the exception of just one moment, that was a most fine display on the balance beam from Ayaka Sakaguchi. She will take concession of a mark. Their confirmation of 12.766 for Georgia Godwin. Has her just outside of medal contention, as Sakaguchi will doubtless expect to happen to her as well. Andrei Medvedev of Israel is the 5th in the men's vault competition. He was also the 5th strongest in qualifying with 14.533. That would be a joint leading position should he achieve that now. Oh, really did have an enormous amount of power, Medvedev. And he's a competitor with plenty of difficulty, at the joint highest difficulty in qualifying. And it's a very intriguing vault final with the absence of Hidenobu Yonekura. More on that in a moment. Ayaka Sakaguchi, 12.4. Potential for that to be a very impressive routine in terms of its score. Obviously the hallmark for coming off the apparatus, the problem there. But back to this men's vault competition, and no Hidenobu Yonekura, gymnast who picked up maximum points in Melbourne a year ago, also has a good haul of points from the 2 Cottbus competitions. Does that really open up an opportunity for someone like Jorge Vega, who is still to come? And indeed for the gymnast that we're looking at now, Andrei Medvedev, who's in that sort of chasing pack, the peloton of vault competitors, in a provisional 6th position. A reminder that it is only the top gymnast that advances to the Olympic Games, with the caveats of 1 per nation in men's and women's competition. Second vault for Andrei Medvedev, 29-year-old. Well, he's got some exciting work, and he may well have an exciting score. European Championship silver medalist on the vault in Szczecin in Poland last year. It's the first time he's really had the chance to take a vault competition by the scruff of the neck in terms of the World Cup qualification. So, with one still to go, Achampong and Bachinska have secured medals. We finish with the top qualifier, Urara Ashikawa of Japan. 8.266 execution in qualification for a 13.766 overall. Best executed routine. Oh, just about. Those of you who speak Japanese will know that the name Urara means serene. Our parents knew what they were doing when they came up with that decision 16 years ago. Very exciting performer, the gymnast from Shizuoka. 14.55 for Andrei Medvedev. Moves into the lead. Fraction ahead of Milad Karimi by a matter of hundredths, who's also just a fraction ahead of James Bakueti. Shin Jae-hwan of the Republic of Korea is the 6th to perform on vault and was the 6th strongest qualifier. 21-year-old from Seoul in his 6th World Cup event, having made his World Cup debut a year ago in Melbourne. Now, if he avoids a 0.1 penalty on this first vault, unlike qualification, which he nearly did. He nearly did. I was about to say he could really be in contention to go into the lead. And a little delayed hop out. It's going to come down to those very tiny tenths. Such is the closeness of all of these competitors. Won a silver medal at the World Challenge Cup in Zhaoqing last year. It's 13.3 for Urara Ashikawa of Japan, and she takes World Cup gold. And that is a very key result for Ashikawa, because that's her second in a row in the World Cup series. The first competitor to win 2 balance beam competitions in the World Cup Olympic qualification process. We'll come back to the classified results on the balance beam in a short while, but now we go to the second vault of Shin Jae-hwan. Yet again, that little hop to the side as he lands, but he's got a very good central line in his vaulting. Some powerful work too. Surprised he's pretty happy with that, the young athlete who we're starting to see a lot more of now internationally. Good amplitude, good technique in his twist work. Powerful run up. Really nice work with his feet, very much keeping the toes together. The little details, very precise in Shin Jae-hwan's gymnastics. It's a great day for the Republic of Korea yesterday with Ryu Sung-hyun winning the men's floor competition. There's a gymnast who the world is talking about following that display. Wonderful from Shin Jae-hwan, 14.866, and he's pushed himself into the gold medal position. That for a gymnast who's provisionally in 5th place in the Olympic qualification on vault. To Jorge Vega of Guatemala, top qualifier, and a gymnast lurking behind Hidenobu Yonekura in vault qualification, with Yonekura having not made the final. This is a chance for Jorge Vega. He's certainly taken that with his first vault, and that's the reaction of a man who knows he's taken it. There's a quiet intensity at this World Cup to Jorge Vega. Took part in the floor final yesterday, but it's the vault where he's really gunning for his Olympic berth. Gentleman that they call Conejito, the little rabbit. One of the most popular sports people in Guatemala, and indeed in the Pan-American community. The gymnast from Jocotenango in South Guatemala. Jocotenango means the place of many plums. It could be Melbourne that's fruitful, though, for Jorge Vega after those 2 vaults. He might well have really moved himself into contention for his country in earning a place at the Games of the Summer Olympiad. Don't think many expected Hidenobu Yonekura to not be participating in this vault final. Vega has done his job, which is seize the opportunity. Only the top 3 scores count in terms of qualification. We'll come back to that in a moment, but now a reflection on the women's balance beam final. The bronze medal for Anastasia Bachinska of Ukraine. What a senior international debut for Adina Champong of Great Britain, taking a silver medal. And right at the very end, Urara Ashikawa of Japan winning her 2nd World Cup title on the balance beam, the first to do that. Jorge Vega scores 14.783. That's got him in the silver medal position. Shin Jae-hwan and Jorge Vega Lopez guaranteed to win medals. Andrei Medvedev is now awaiting the performance of this last competitor, and we now see the 3rd strongest qualifier, Igor Sharamkov of Belarus. Now this first vault had a 9.6 execution in qualification, albeit with a 0.1 penalty. It took a lot of strength for him to get back up from virtually supine. Could very well be important in terms of the final standings that he managed to hold on. Igor Sharamkov in a provisional 4th position in the vault qualification. His line on the vault was absolutely lovely. It was right in the centre. his best points tally coming in the most recent World Cup in Cottbus at the end of last year. Provisional 25 points for him. It's a second place finish. 30 is the maximum score a competitor can take, and with only 3 scores counting, therefore a 90-point haul is the maximum point haul. Thing that Jade Carey knows all about when it comes to vaulting. Second vault now for Sharumkov. That was a much more tidy piece of work. His more difficult piece. And it was nicely performed, very nicely performed. So let's just take a moment to reflect on the numbers necessary. Shin Jae-hwan leads, 14.866. Jorge Vega second, 14.783. And then just a small amount of daylight with Andrei Medvedev on 14.55. So it's 14.56 for Igor Sharumkov to get onto the podium. Certainly so far for the peloton, Shin and Vega, it's been a very good competition in the absence of Yonekura, and this gentleman is also part of that peloton, as indeed is Andrei Medvedev. So all of that tells us that we're going to be in for a fascinating Baku and Doha vault competitions. Looks like a bulb's gone somewhere. Well, we're hearing there that Sharumkov has not managed to pick up a medal. We'll get that number to you as soon as possible, but the stadium announcer, I believe they said just missing out. We'll bring you those classified results in the men's vault final just as soon as we've got them confirmed. And then we'll have the victory ceremonies in both the women's balance beam and the men's vault.
All right, after that round, we have a running total for our bushfire sticker recorders. We're currently sitting on $6,040.
May just be able to see on the big screen, Ondina Champong of Great Britain is having a chat to the in-arena interviewer. British competitor doing a superb job to take a silver medal. Lovely performance. Well, apologies for the delay in bringing you the final standings in the men's vault. But numbers are very important at this stage of Olympic qualification. Every single deliberation that the judges make is absolutely crucial. Takes a little time, it's time well spent. But just looking at that top group of Olympic qualifiers in the men's vault, Yonekura coming into this as the strongest performer, then Jorge Vega, then Zheng Weisheng of Chinese Taipei, then Sharumkov, then Shin, then Medvedev. So we've certainly got some good points up for grabs from those gymnasts who are in that chasing group to really put pressure on Yonekura. So we start with some very intriguing qualification battles. Just to reiterate, it is only the top performer that can earn a qualification place, and only one per country, and that does impact nations like Japan and the People's Republic of China, because there could well be some intricate tie-breaking procedures applied. And that's where a gymnast like Jorge Vega doesn't really have to worry too much about that, as the leading light from his nation. But Urara Ashikawa has done her job extremely impressively, having not participated in any of the first 4 balance beam competitions. Came in at Cottbus and really did deliver. Has done so again here. And the balance beam, it's coming into this, Nedov, then Li Chi from China, Mana Oguchi and Anastasia Bachinska.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a medal ceremony for men's vaults.
So although we haven't been able to give you the final numbers for the men's vault competition, it's a pretty good indication that the judges know what's going on, because we're about to have a victory ceremony. so we obviously do have those numbers. We just thought we'd keep them a secret for fun. It's time for the victory ceremony for the men's vault competition here at the Melbourne World Cup of 2020.
The winner of the bronze medal represents Israel, Andrei Medvedev.
Andrei Medvedev from Israel, the recipient of the bronze medal with a score of 14.55. A useful score for him in terms of his qualification hopes. A very useful score for Jorge Vega of Guatemala. Second place finish for him.
And World Cup champion on men's vault represents Korea, Shin Jae-hwan.
This is a performance on vault that's really played Shin Jae-hwan into contention. 14.866 for him. And he has secured the title here in Melbourne. Picked up 25 points in the Melbourne World Cup last year. This is now a 30-point haul for the 21-year-old from Seoul. Second time we've seen a gymnast from the Republic of Korea in central spot on the podium at the Melbourne World Cup. As a result, we shall hear for a second time the national anthem of the Republic of Korea.
Please be outstanding for the national anthem of Korea.
Gukga, the national anthem of the Republic of Korea, adopted in 1948 and played in honour of Shin Jae-hwan, who takes vault top spot here in Melbourne. We'll continue with the balance beam victory ceremony, but there are the classified results in the men's vault competition, with Andrei Medvedev of Israel taking the bronze medal, Jorge Vega of Guatemala the silver, and Shin Jae-hwan of the Republic of Korea the title. Not at all as compact, those final scores, compared to qualification, where there really was a matter of just a few tenths separating the entire field. It's Shin Jae-hwan who holds his nerve more strongly than anyone else and takes the title. the victory ceremony for the women's balance beam competition at the 2020 World Cup of Artistic Gymnastics in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
Former Gymnastics Australia President and FIG Council member. The winner of the bronze medal represents Ukraine, Anastasia Bachinska.
Anastasia Bachinska of Ukraine takes the bronze medal in the balance beam competition. A score for her of 12.933. Ondina Champong of Great Britain, the silver medalist, 13.166 for her. What a World Cup debut this is. The reigning British junior champion on the balance beam, stepping up to senior level. But when we think about people who step up to senior level, we have to talk about Urara Ashikawa, the Japanese gymnast, scoring 13.3. And as the final performer taking the title, but more significantly, her second in balance beam qualification. On she will go to Baku and Doha with some confidence, as indeed will a Champong, as indeed will Bachinska. The battle continues on the balance beam. And we shall now hear Kimi Gayo, the national anthem of Japan.
Please be outstanding for the national anthem of Japan.
Splendid display from all of these competitors in an engrossing women's balance beam final, won by Urara Ashikawa. And there they are, the medalists in the women's balance beam competition at the Melbourne World Cup of 2020.